Hey everybody, John Rice, also known as the LEXpert. I'm on my way to a closing on one of my listings. Got the sign in the back seat there. Thought this might be a good time, since we're in the prime buying season, to talk about your strategy for making an offer and getting a house for the lowest possible price. Let me tell you what a lot of people, their kind of default strategy on getting a low price on a house. They make a low ball offer, and I can tell you from my experience, that is not the best way to buy the house at the lowest dollar amount that the seller is willing to go. And here's why. Let me back up a little bit. You know, I've sold 50 plus houses in about the last 2 years. I've closed 11 as of today, and it's just the end of April. And this is how it's always gone, whether I've been on the buyer's side or the seller's side of the offer. When a lowball offer is made, the seller doesn't take it serious. So often they don't come down to their bottom dollar because they're not expecting the house to actually sell. And then typically, if the buyer's, willing, a counter offer's made, another counter offer's made, another counter offer's made, and it'll go back and forth several times. And the buyer thinks they're getting a good deal, but I'll tell you what the seller is thinking. The seller is thinking, this person's going to come back one more time, so I better not show them all of my cards. I better have a little bit of reserve built in case they come back just one more time, so I can say yes to them. So right there, the buyer's not going to get the house at the lowest dollar amount. Right there. Never seen it happen. Also, just to let you know, I know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of a number nerd, and I've done a lot of research on list to sale prices for closed sales in the popular price ranges in Lexington. And most of them are going for 95 to 100% of the asking price. Alright, so you want to buy a house. You're going to make an offer. You want to get it as cheap as you can. A lot of people just start wondering, how much will the seller come off of that list price? But I think you got to go one step deeper than that. You have to first figure out what the house is really worth. That involves a lot of research, figuring out what other houses of similar size have sold for, and you're looking for basically buyer behavior over the recent history in that neighborhood, and you're trying to just figure out what a fair market price is. That's the first thing you have to establish before you can even make an offer. Alright, so where does this leave us now? We know what not to do, and we know we've got to first figure out what the house is worth. Alright, what I tell my clients is, let's make an offer realistic and reasonable enough that the seller is going to take us serious. Because nowadays, odds are, that poor seller has already gotten 3 or 4 offers that didn't work out. They were all the lowball offers I was talking about. And when you come along and you make a realistic offer, they want to deal with you. They want to sell you that house. They're motivated to show you their lowest dollar. And that's my strategy. I want the buyer to tell me the lowest number that they'll sell the house for, instead of us guessing and starting way low and then coming up a little, 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 up a little. I'd rather just have the buyer say where the number is. So once you know what the house is worth, I'd probably come in with a 92 to 95% offer of what the house is worth, not of the asking price. Of course, that'll vary a little bit depending on the price range and the time of year, because there are some inconsistencies there that you have to deal with. But in general, just for this short video blog, that's what I would do. Let's come in at 92, 93, 94, 95% of what the house is worth. The seller is going to want to work with you, so they are going to come back and show you a number that they'll sell the house for. And then also something else I do is I tell people nobody ever is going to walk away from a real estate deal for just, you know, $1,000 to $2,000. So once that buyer comes back with a counter, I would come back maybe one more time, ask for just a little more. You don't want to ask for a lot. You want to come back with just a little more, because like I said, this day and age, you know, very few sellers are going to walk away over just $1,000 or $2,000 more dollars, depending on price range. And you know, something I learned from my dad. My dad is a fantastic negotiator. He says the way to get people where you need them to be is taking little steps. So, but you don't want to take too many, because then people get aggravated. So, you know, make the offer, come back one more time for just a little more, so that they'll say yes to it, and boom, you've bought the house at the lowest possible price.